The Silent Guardian. Captain Maya Rhodes stood at the viewport of the UES Nightshade, watching distant stars blur past as her stealth frigate cut through the darkness of deep space. The experimental vessel represented humanity's latest achievement in stealth technology, a ship that could slip through hostile territory like a ghost, gathering intelligence that could mean the difference between life and death for Earth's outer colonies. Contact bearing 340. Lieutenant Park called from his sensor station, his voice steady but tense. Energy signature matches nothing in our database. Maya's fingers tightened imperceptibly on the railing. After 6 months patrolling the frontier, they'd finally found something. Classification. Mass suggests capital ship class, but the power output, Park frowned at his readings. It's off the charts, Captain. Show me. The main display flickered to life, resolving into a massive vessel unlike anything Maya had encountered in her 15 years of service. Its hull seemed to drink in the starlight, geometric patterns etched across its surface in configurations that defied conventional engineering. But what caught her attention were the weapons, if they were weapons at all. Crystalline structures studded the ship's hull, pulsing with an inner light that made her skin crawl. No known match to any Concordat designs, her XO, Commander David Chen, noted as he studied the readings. Could be an independent species we haven't encountered yet. Maya was about to respond when Park's console erupted in alerts. Captain. The unknown vessel, it's charging weapons. Energy spike detected. Before Maya could issue orders, a beam of impossible light lanced out from one of the crystalline structures, striking a distant point in space. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself seemed to tear, reality warping and twisting before their eyes. When the distortion cleared, a small mining outpost that had stood at the edge of their sensor range was simply gone, as if it had never existed. Life signs, Maya demanded, though she already knew the answer. None detected, Park whispered. The entire station. It's just vapor. Maya's jaw clenched. That outpost had housed over 300 civilians, miners and their families, trying to build a life on the frontier. Now they were atoms scattered across the void, with no warning and no chance to defend themselves. Sound general quarters, she ordered, her voice hard, and get me a secure channel to Fleet Command. They need to know what we're dealing with. As klaxons blared and her crew rushed to battle stations, Maya kept her eyes fixed on the alien vessel. The Nightshade's stealth systems had kept them hidden so far, but she knew that wouldn't last forever. Sooner or later, they would have to engage this threat, and conventional tactics clearly wouldn't be enough. What's their heading? She asked. Chen checked the tactical display, his expression grim. Based on their current vector, they're on course for the Arcturus colony. Population 50,000. Maya nodded once, decision made. Plot and intercept course, maximum stealth. We need to buy those colonists time. Captain, Chen started, regulations state that we should maintain observation only until. I know what the regulations say, Commander. Maya cut him off. I also know that in the time it would take reinforcements to arrive, there won't be a colony left to save. Sometimes we have to write our own rules. Her XO held her gaze for a long moment before nodding. Aye, Captain. Plotting intercept course. As the Nightshade changed heading, Maya studied the alien vessel's configurations, mind racing through possible strategies. Their ship's stealth capabilities were unprecedented, but their weapons were conventional, designed for fighting known threats. Against something like this, get me engineering, she ordered. I want to know if we can modify our quantum torpedoes to match the frequency of those crystal structures. If we can't beat them with brute force, maybe we can turn their own technology against them. And if that doesn't work? Chen asked quietly. Maya's expression hardened. Then we make damn sure that thing never reaches Arcturus, whatever it takes. Humanity didn't come this far to watch our people be erased from existence. The bridge fell silent save for the low hum of equipment as the Nightshade closed with its target. Maya knew she was potentially sacrificing her ship and crew on an impossible mission. But as she thought of the mining outpost's sudden annihilation, of the families that had been aboard, she knew she couldn't do anything else. Sometimes being human meant standing against impossible odds, not because you could win, but because it was right. And if this was to be their last stand, Maya intended to show these aliens exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed to the edge. Weapons, begin modifications to the torpedo payload, she ordered. Engineering, I want every scrap of power we can squeeze out of the stealth systems, and get me a direct feed of their crystal structures. If we're going to die today, we're taking that thing with us. The crew acknowledged her orders with quiet determination, each person focused on their tasks with the precision that came from years of training. As Maya watched the alien vessel grow larger on their display, she allowed herself a grim smile. Whatever happened next, they would remind the galaxy why humanity had survived every threat it had ever faced. The hunt was on, breaking the chain. The Nightshade's engines pulsed silently as they shadowed the alien vessel, maintaining a precise distance that kept them just outside the theoretical range of its sensors. Maya had ordered all non-essential systems shut down, pushing their stealth technology to its absolute limits. Modifications to the quantum torpedoes are complete, Lieutenant Zhang reported from the weapons station. We've matched the frequency signature of their crystal structures, but there's no way to test if it'll work until we fire. Maya nodded, studying the tactical display. The alien ship hadn't altered course. It was still heading straight for Arcturus colony. They had maybe 2 hours before it came within firing range of the settlement. What have we learned about their defenses? She asked. Commander Chen pulled up the sensor analysis they'd compiled over the last hour. Their hull appears to absorb or deflect conventional energy weapons. The crystal structures generate some kind of quantum field. That's what caused the spatial distortion that destroyed the mining outpost. But there's something else. He highlighted a section of the analysis. The crystals seem to resonate with each other. When one fires, the others pulse in sequence. It's almost like a chain reaction. Maya finished, the beginnings of a plan forming in her mind. If we can disrupt that sequence, we might be able to turn their own weapon against them. Chen agreed. But we have to time it perfectly, and we'd only get one shot. Miss, and we give away our position. Maya's fingers drummed against the console as she considered their options. The plan was risky, possibly suicidal, but they were out of alternatives. Park, give me an analysis of their crystal firing pattern. I want to know exactly how that sequence propagates across their hull. The sensor officer worked quickly, compiling data from their observations. The energy pulse moves in a specific pattern, Captain. Each crystal charges the next in line, building to a critical threshold before discharge. The sequence takes approximately 47 seconds to complete. And if we interrupt that sequence, based on the energy readings, Park's eyes widened. The feedback could cascade through their entire weapons system, but we'd need to hit the primary crystal at exactly the right moment in the cycle. Maya straightened. Plot firing solutions for all quantum torpedoes. I want them targeted on that primary crystal the instant it begins its charging sequence. Captain, Chen cautioned, if we're off by even a fraction of a second, then we're dead. Maya finished. But we're dead anyway if we let that thing reach Arcturus. Sometimes you have to roll the hard 6, Commander. She opened a channel to engineering. Roberts, I need everything you can give me to the stealth systems. We have to get close enough for a guaranteed hit. Aye, Captain. The chief engineer responded. But get any closer and they'll detect our heat signature, no matter what we do. Understood. Maya turned to her crew, seeing the tension and determination in their faces. This is it, people. We hit them hard and fast, then get clear before the feedback pulse reaches critical. If we time this right, we save 50,000 lives. If we don't, she let the implications hang in the air. The bridge crew nodded, each person focusing on their stations with renewed intensity. They all knew the stakes. Beginning approach, the helm officer reported quietly. 15 minutes to optimal firing position. Maya watched the distance slowly close between their ships, every second bringing them closer to either victory or annihilation. The alien vessel continued on its course, apparently unaware of the predator stalking it through the void. Energy spike. Park called suddenly. They're beginning their firing sequence. Time to their weapon discharge, Maya demanded. 47 seconds. Mark. All weapons, lock on primary crystal structure. Fire on my mark. Maya's hand tightened on the railing as she watched the energy buildup propagate through the alien ship's crystal network. Everything hinged on hitting them at exactly the right moment. 30 seconds to discharge. The Nightshade's weapons came online, torpedoes locked on target. Maya could feel the tension on the bridge, every crew member holding their breath. 20 seconds. The alien ship's crystals pulsed brighter, the deadly sequence approaching its crescendo. 10 seconds. Maya's voice cut through the silence. Fire. The quantum torpedoes launched simultaneously, their modified warheads tracking the unique energy signature of the alien crystals. For a terrible moment, everything seemed to move in slow motion as the weapons crossed the void between the ships. Then they struck. The primary crystal shattered, its destruction interrupting the firing sequence at the crucial moment. Energy backwashed through the alien vessel's weapon grid, each crystal overloading in turn as the feedback pulse cascaded through their systems. Hard about, Maya ordered. Get us clear. The Nightshade's engines flared as they executed a hard turn, accelerating away from the doomed alien ship. Behind them, the cascade failure reached critical mass. The alien vessel's hull buckled as its own weapons turned against it, reality warping energy tearing it apart from the inside. When the sensors cleared, there was nothing left but scattered debris where the alien ship had been. Damage report, Maya called, steadying herself against her console. Minor hull stress from the shockwave, Chen reported. But we're intact. No casualties. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Send a message to Arcturus colony. Tell them the threat has been neutralized. She paused, then added, and get me a secure channel to Fleet Command. They need to know what we're dealing with out here, and that we found a way to fight back. As her crew carried out her orders, Maya stared at the debris field on their sensors. They'd won this battle, but she knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, more of these ships were waiting. But now humanity had a fighting chance. And that was all they'd ever needed. The price of mercy. 3 days after the destruction of the alien vessel, the Nightshade received an unexpected transmission. The signal was weak, encoded in a format their systems barely recognized. But the message was clear. Help us. Maya studied the decoded transmission, her expression troubled. The signal's coming from a system just outside mapped space. Pattern suggests a distress beacon. Could be a trap, Chen warned, but Maya detected uncertainty in his voice. The transmission included visual data, images of beings that looked nothing like the crew of the ship they'd destroyed. These aliens were smaller, almost delicate in appearance, with iridescent skin and large expressive eyes. They're refugees, Maya said quietly, running from the same forces we encountered. The bridge crew exchanged glances. Their orders were clear: maintain patrol of human space, protect the colonies. But Maya couldn't shake the images from the transmission, couldn't ignore the desperation in their message. Plot a course, she ordered. Maximum stealth. Chen didn't argue this time. The source of the transmission turned out to be a cluster of ships hidden in the shadow of a gas giant. Civilian vessels, their hulls scared and patched, running on minimal power to avoid detection. Maya counted at least 20 ships, each packed with refugees. Life signs, she asked. Over 3,000, Park reported. Multiple species, but mostly one type, matching the beings from the transmission. Their ships are operating on emergency power. Life support systems are failing. Maya's decision was made before Chen could raise the obvious objections. Begin evacuation procedures. We'll take as many as we can aboard. Coordinate with the others too. Multiple contacts. Park's voice cut through the bridge. 3 vessels, same configuration as the one we encountered. They're on an attack vector. Maya's jaw tightened. How long until they're in weapons range? 10 minutes, maybe less. She looked at the refugee ships, knowing they had no chance of escaping in time. Not without help. Launch a distress beacon to Fleet Command, she ordered. Then get our visitors aboard fast. We're about to show these bastards why you don't corner humans. The next 8 minutes were organized chaos as the Nightshade took on as many refugees as they could safely handle. Maya watched the enemy ships approach on tactical, mind racing through options. They'd managed to defeat 1 ship with their modified torpedoes, but 3 at once. Captain, one of the refugees approached the bridge, their translator converting their musical language into English. I am Zora, leader of our people. There is something you must know about our pursuers. Maya listened as Zora explained, pieces falling into place. The attacking ships weren't crewed by aliens at all. They were autonomous weapons, ancient machines left behind by a long-dead civilization. They followed their original programming without comprehension or mercy, destroying any species that developed beyond a certain technological threshold. That's why they targeted our colonies, Maya realized. We're advancing too quickly for their parameters. Zara nodded. We discovered their control network, but could not access it. Perhaps your people's technology. Park, Maya called. Analyze that control network data. Look for vulnerabilities. The next few minutes were tense as Park worked, the enemy ships drawing ever closer. Finally, he looked up, eyes wide. Captain, their network. It's not that different from our quantum communications. If we modify our comm array to broadcast on their frequency, we could upload a virus, Maya finished. Disable their whole network, or reprogram them entirely, Chen added quietly. Maya felt the weight of the decision. They could destroy these ships, maybe even shut down the entire network. But there was another option, one that would require more effort, more risk, but might lead to something greater. Begin the modifications, she ordered. But we're not destroying them. We're going to rewrite their core directives, turn them from destroyers into guardians. The next few minutes were the longest of Maya's career as they prepared the upload. The enemy ships closed to weapons range, their crystal structures beginning to pulse with deadly energy. Upload complete, Park announced just as the first ship began its firing sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the crystal structures went dark. The ships hung motionless in space, their ancient programming being rewritten line by line. Did it work? Chen asked. As if in answer, the ship's engines flared to life. But instead of attacking, they moved into defensive positions around the refugee fleet. Zara's translator couldn't quite convey the emotion in their voice. You could have destroyed them. Why show mercy to machines that showed none? Maya watched as the reprogrammed ships began coordinating with each other, their vast processing power now dedicated to protection rather than destruction. Because that's what makes us human, she replied. We don't just survive. We find better ways. And sometimes mercy isn't just moral, it's tactical. She turned to her crew. Send word to Fleet Command. Tell them we've made some new allies. And we got a lot of work ahead of us. As the Nightshade set course for home, Maya watched the former enemy ships escort the refugee fleet. They'd taken a chance on mercy, on finding a better solution than simple destruction. It was a risk, but that's what humanity did best. Face the impossible and find a way to make it work. The real challenge would be convincing the Admiralty that they'd just adopted a fleet of ancient alien warships. Maya smiled. She was looking forward to that conversation. Hearts and minds. The UES Nightshade's return to Earth space caused more than a few raised eyebrows. Being escorted by 3 former enemy vessels and a fleet of refugee ships tended to have that effect. Maya stood in Fleet Command's central chamber, facing the Admiralty board. Behind her, Zara waited quietly, their iridescent skin shifting colors with barely contained anxiety. "Let me understand this correctly." Admiral Chen spoke first, his hologram flickering slightly. "You not only violated patrol boundaries and engaged an unknown hostile force, but you also reprogrammed ancient autonomous weapons and invited them into our space." "Yes, sir," Maya replied. "And in doing so, we gained access to technology centuries beyond our own, saved 3,000 refugees, and turned a devastating threat into a powerful ally." The admirals exchanged glances. Maya could see the calculations happening behind their eyes, weighing the risks against the potential benefits. "The reprogrammed ships have already shared significant technological data," Maya continued. "Their quantum communication network alone could revolutionize our defense capabilities. And the refugees, they have knowledge we desperately need." Zara stepped forward, their translator converting their musical speech. "My people have studied the Ancient One's technology for generations. We can help you understand it, improve it. Together, we could protect this sector of space from threats none of us could face alone." The chamber fell silent as the admirals considered this. Finally, Fleet Admiral Harrison leaned forward. "Captain Rhodes, your actions were incredibly risky. They were also exactly what humanity needed. Sometimes the boldest decisions are the right ones." He turned to Zara. "We would be honored to work with your people. Together, we can build something new. A partnership based on mutual protection and advancement." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The refugee ships were given safe harbor at Earth's orbital stations, while teams of human and alien scientists began working to understand the reprogrammed vessels. Maya found herself at the center of it all, coordinating between species that had never imagined working together. "The integration of their quantum technology with our systems is proceeding faster than expected," Chen reported one evening, as they watched human engineers working alongside Zara's people. "The modifications you made to those ships opened up possibilities we never considered." Maya nodded, watching as one of the reprogrammed vessels demonstrated its improved capabilities. The crystal structures that had once brought destruction now generated defensive fields, protecting nearby ships and stations. "Sometimes the best solutions aren't about having the most advanced technology," she said. "It's about having the imagination to use it differently." "The refugees are settling in well," Chen added. "Some have already requested to join our defense forces. They want to help protect their new home." Maya smiled. This was what humanity did best, not just survive, but adapt, grow, and bring others along with them. The alien refugees were already contributing their unique perspectives and abilities, while human innovation was helping unlock the full potential of the ancient technology. "Captain," Zara approached, their skin glowing with excitement. "We've made a breakthrough with the quantum network. Using your communications modifications as a base, we found a way to extend its range tenfold. We could link the entire sector." Maya's mind raced with the possibilities. A unified defense network, combining human ingenuity, alien insight, and advanced technology. It was exactly what they needed. "Get me a secure channel to Fleet Command," she ordered. "They need to see this." As she watched humans and aliens working side by side, Maya felt a sense of pride. They'd taken a moment of crisis and turned it into an opportunity for growth. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about building something greater than any one species could achieve alone. The ancient machines had been programmed to prevent advancement. Instead, they'd become the catalyst for the greatest leap forward in human history. Rising together. The warning came 6 months after the integration of the refugee fleet. Deep space sensors detected a massive energy signature at the edge of known space, a fleet of ancient warships, far larger than anything they'd encountered before. Maya stood on the Nightshade's bridge, now enhanced with hybrid technology developed through human-alien collaboration. "How many?" 50 ships, Park reported. "Same configuration as our reprogrammed vessels, but bigger. Much bigger. They detected our modifications to their network, Zara said, their skin pulsing with concern. This is their response. Maya nodded. They'd known this was coming. The ancient machines couldn't allow their purpose to be subverted. Alert the defense fleet. Activate the quantum network. Within minutes, the combined fleet assembled. Human ships flew alongside refugee vessels, their formations protected by the reprogrammed ancient ships. Through the quantum network, they functioned as one force, each species contributing their unique strengths. Enemy fleet approaching weapons range, Chen reported. Their energy readings are off the scale. Maya opened a channel to all ships. This is what we prepared for. Human ingenuity, alien wisdom, and advanced technology. Together, we're stronger than any threat. Execute Battle Plan Alpha. The enemy fleet emerged from hyperspace, their crystal weapons already charging. But they faced something unprecedented, a unified force that had learned from their own technology. Human ships darted between the larger vessels, their modified weapons targeting weak points identified by refugee scientists. The reprogrammed ancient ships generated defensive fields, their crystals now protecting rather than destroying. They're trying to upload a reset code through the quantum network, Park called out. Not today, Maya responded. Execute our countervirus. Zara's people had helped develop the program, combining their knowledge of ancient systems with human coding innovation. As it deployed, enemy ships began to falter, their coordination disrupted. Push the advantage, Maya ordered. All ships, converge on their command vessel. The battle raged across space, a testament to what different species could achieve together. Where the ancient machines relied on raw power, the Allied fleet used creativity and cooperation. Human tactical innovations, alien technical expertise, and reprogrammed ancient technology worked in perfect harmony. The enemy command ship fell first, its crystal matrix overloaded by precisely targeted strikes. Others followed, their programming unable to adapt to strategies it had never contemplated. When it was over, Maya stood in fleet command once again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Representatives from every species involved in the battle stood with her. Today marks a new era, Fleet Admiral Harrison announced. Not just for humanity, but for all our peoples. Together, we've proved that cooperation is stronger than conflict, that diversity breeds innovation, and that no force can stand against united species working toward a common goal. Maya watched as human and alien delegates signed the first draft of the Stellar Concordat, a mutual defense and advancement pact. The reprogrammed ancient ships would serve as its guardians, their original purpose transformed into something noble. You did this, Zara said quietly, standing beside her. Humans could have destroyed our pursuers, could have turned away our refugees. Instead, you chose a harder path, one that made us all stronger. Maya smiled. That's what humanity does best. We don't just survive challenges, we turn them into opportunities. And now we all get to see what we can achieve together. As she looked out at the assembled representatives, Maya thought about the journey that had brought them here. It had started with a single choice, to help rather than hide, to protect rather than destroy. That choice had cascaded into something greater than anyone could have imagined. The ancient machines had been created to prevent species from growing too powerful. Instead, they'd become the catalyst for the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever seen. And at its heart was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to unite different peoples, to find common ground in diversity, and to face impossible odds with innovation and hope. The stars seemed brighter now, full of possibility rather than threat. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And that made all the difference. The end.